we're jumping back into episode 2 of Cosmic Fury. And dear God, it's kind of weird seeing Harvey's arm not being there. Like, I do imagine he's got his arm tucked behind his back or in his shirt, kind of like matched down so you can't see it. But effectively, we don't see his arm. And it's kind of more surreal, which, again, it's so weird to see in Power Rangers. But Billy is going to help with his arm. He gives a compliment to Sauron and it's like, hey, you know, you do really well, so your cybernetics are amazing. And she kind of takes this as a really big compliment and goes like, if only dinosaurs could blush. It's kind of a nice wholesome moment, even though there's tragedy that has struck him. And I generally kind of thought that maybe Hobby throughout most of this is going to be a bit more kind of like standoffish, like, you know, he's gone through trauma that no one should have to go through. With seeing this, it's going to lead into something else, which I'm going to talk about very much later on. It's going to be out soon, so check out my video for that, even though you don't know what it's about, but it'll be about his arm. Now, they all have like marshmallows all the way through. Like, there are times that they just have marshmallows, and I generally don't know if they have anything with it. Is it just a cup of marshmallows? But at times that you see it like is maybe hot chocolate, water. I don't know. I just feel like if you're having a cup of marshmallows, are you having hot chocolate with it? So please, can someone let me know? It's just kind of really, really weird. But you also see Amelia and Ollie's mum kind of just enter the room and stuff like that and say like, hey, they've got to find an applicator to spray this kind of antidote all over Ollie, which will make him good again, which again is something that I think is needed. But again, like, you know, it's not going to work. Like, you know, it's not going to work until much later on or at all. It's just, I like the story building. Don't get me wrong. I really like it, but I kind of feel like you're being led down the garden path and there's just nothing there. It's just a brick wall after someone promises you it's beautiful. There's just no one there. Now, I really like the fact that Mick is all rangered up. He's in a Zord and he's going off to find Zato. Ion is always going on about it and it kind of irritates me. I get the fact about Zato and stuff, but I just find the way that Ion goes on about this all the time, it's just really frustrating. And people used to say, oh my God, I can't believe Troy would go after Robo. I think Troy in Super Megaforce literally mentioned Robo Knight a few times, but the way that Ion takes over this, dear God, he takes the crown for it. I get it. It's just really frustrating at times. It does stop, but it does get really frustrating. But what I kind of feel really weird is that you think that with a Ranger down, even though you've got Billy there, you would want Mick to be there in Ranger form. Maybe you could have sent someone off otherwise. It just feels really weird, like Mick isn't staying around for a long time. So we get a scene where Izzy is talking to her father, as well as Jane and Jayborg, which is really nice to see Jane and Jayborg, and it's not straight away antics. It's not like silly stuff. I really like Jayborg. She's really cool in this. So I like the fact that Izzy also deepens her voice when talking to her, like, yeah, the Rangers are going to be doing this and like, we need your help. Like, tell everybody you're the global defense person. Make sure that you don't do this. I think it's fantastic. I like it. I like the fact that Jayborg comes up with this idea and says like, hey, why don't we just send out a broadcast from Buzz Blast and be like, everyone on Earth has gone to Jupiter and they're on a vacation. And I was just like, I get it. I think it's an interesting plan. I just don't think it's going to work. And Izzy's dad just shoots it down, like, but he would just come back anyway once he knows that no one's there. And you know, Jayborg's like, well, there's a plan. One thing I do like in this is the fact that we get the Pan Global Games mentioned again. It's been mentioned a few times throughout Power Rangers, and I like the fact that they put it in there and the fact that Izzy and Fern are going to be competing in it. And I was like, that's really cool. Like, I kind of really wish that they showed more of the Pan Global Games, or maybe did an episode where everyone is kind of doing like competing and stuff like that. You know, I think we saw it in one episode, but again, not a full thing. So again, really like the fact that the Pan Global Games is going strong after around about 28 years. Lord Zed is giving a speech, but guess what happens? Squillier jumps in and says like, oh, if you're going to do this, let's actually record it and broadcast it everywhere because it's an original monologue and that's what people would want to see. So yeah, it's kind of like Lord Zed's like, why would you do that? That's my master plan. everyone could figure it out, everyone could see it, and that's not what we want. I can see why she would like to do this, but again, it's not the best plan when you've got world domination happening. Why? But again, social influencer, TikTok live, ice cream so good, yum yum, ice cream so good. I imagine she could do that. So Doodrip is back. That's right, he's back. One thing is, I hate his voice in this. He's stolen Squillia's Squidrill. Try and say that 10 times fast. But yeah, he is kind of like stolen it. He's going off to defeat the Rangers because he probably is going to do something. It's just, I thought he would be a general in this rather than just a monster that is a monster of the week effectively. But yeah, he goes off to Earth to try and defeat the Rangers like every single bad guy does. So one thing I would have done in this to kind of added in, Ollie just kind of like goes feral for no reason at all. So he wakes up by saying like, oh Lord Zed, and then sees his mum, sees Amelia like kind of there, and literally goes straight for her teleportation device. This kind of sparks a thing where Ollie wants to start trashing the room to get out. Basically, Ollie's mum teleports out, then Amelia does, and then Ollie just trashes the room. It's just like, what the hell? You kind of think that if you're evil, the first thing that you would have done is gone, right, if I pretend to be good, then I can get that device and, you know, I'm free and I can do what I want. So I just like seeing feral Ollie just going everywhere and trashing the room for no escape. I just think it's funny. They mentioned that Ollie's Ranger energy has been corrupted, and that's the reason why he's evil and the effects aren't working. And I generally like this idea. I think that in the future, if you're going to make a Ranger evil, just corrupt the power. That's literally it. Just corrupt the power. They won't need anything else after that. So again, I think that's a really good way of kind of making someone evil and stay being evil. There's a part in this now thinking, I don't know why they don't just kind of do this much later on, but we'll talk about this in a moment. If Amelia wasn't the main focus of the season, I think that I would have had her turn evil. I really want to see evil Amelia. I think that would have been really, really cool. And kind of thinking about it now, like if you had them both turn evil, you could have had the whole thing of like Archerina and whatever that guy's name in Zeo is, something like that. I think that would have been really nice to see, but alas, we don't, and we just get Amelia, a good Amelia. We get to see Izzy and Fern together, and I like it. I like Fern in this. I like that she's wearing orange because originally, before a Ranger gets their powers, they normally wear just kind of neutral colored clothes, but the fact that Fern is wearing an orange top makes you go, ah, she's gonna be a Ranger. Ah, see it. And we already know this anyway, but there you go. She's foreshadowing the Ranger event, so it's generally kind of nice to see. And Izzy decides, hey, I'm gonna protect her and not kind of make everyone go in a mass panic like we normally do. So she kind of plays it off, and when Fern's like, hey, like, why didn't I see this? Why wasn't the news covering this? Izzy's like, well, I was on another planet doing Ranger stuff, and that's the reason why there were no cameras about. Again, very nice. It's just, I think from this, I will talk more in this in other videos. I just generally think that Izzy needs to completely change a little bit towards her relationship, because it just feels like she's super overprotective, which again is really cool, but also a little bit off-putting. Everyone is now at the base, and Harvey has got his brand new arm. He still isn't able to control it because the connection between his mind and the technology hasn't kind of sunk in. It hasn't synchronized, so it's kind of all over the place. He's like kind of like throwing his arm about. Again, kind of funny-ish, but you kind of expect these sorts of problems all along. Again, it's nice that it's not like, here's my new arm, I know exactly how to use it. So the Rangers detect that a Squidrill is coming to Earth, and they think it's Lord Zed, but there's no fleet with this one, so they're kind of worried. With that, they decide to kind of morph, but beforehand, I kind of really like the way that Ion starts talking about how old they all are compared to Billy. Billy goes, I'm honored to fight beside the younger generation, and Ion goes, but you're young, I'm old. And everyone's like, stop it, Ion, we told you not to go on about this. And he's like, what? The Rangers morph. It is basically Ion, Amelia, Izzy, and Billy. Harvey's not going to morph because he can't control to put his key into his morpher and actually morph because of his arm. I think it would be funny if he tried to put it in with his mouth or something. That would have been kind of cool. So the Rangers have devised a plan to kind of utilize the energy from the blue Triceratops to shoot into Ollie to turn him good. They think that a massive amount of blue morphing energy will hit into him and turn him good and get rid of the evil. Find out in the review if that happens. So everyone is above ground and they're getting ready to kind of do it. So I can't remember if this is in the right order, but we'll go with it. We have Fern going over to Izzy's house and she talks to her mum and says like, hey, do you know where Izzy is? And Izzy's mum goes, oh no, I don't know. Try ringing her. Doesn't work. Fern then goes off to Dinohenge because that's where she knows she's going to be. We get the outside of Dinohenge where all the Rangers are there. They're kind of like hooking up the machine for this to kind of work and they need to power it up. Izzy then casts a invisible shield and this is when we get Sentinels to kind of come down on Earth and Billy and Ion go off to kind of fight, and it's really, really nice. I like the fact that Ion goes like, oh, what a nice young man, as Billy runs off to kind of defeat the Sentinels. Generally thought it was a funny line. I like some of the humor in this. Absolutely perfect. So with this, the Rangers start fighting, but Fern then comes out of nowhere on her bike and Izzy's about to stop, but there's like, no, don't. If you stop this, what's going to happen is like the barrier's going to go down and we're going to have more people on this. We can't afford that right now. Harvey then goes out because Amelia is about to and says like, oh, I'm going to go out and I've got to help. But Harvey says, no, I'll go do it because this could be the only chance that we get for Ollie turning good. So he morphs, and one thing I really like the detail of the suit is that he's got his robotic arm outside. And it's not just like spandex over, it's completely gone. So it adds more to this costume, which I generally really like, which is a very nice touch. Very nice. I generally like this. I think that maybe the Rangers could have all had certain things to kind of amplify their suits and stuff. So yeah, generally kind of like that part. Harvey then goes off and defeats some of the Sentinels and grabs Fern and teleports back to the base. And therefore we see her disappear to throw up in the toilet. Ollie comes out of the room and he's like, hey, I'm completely cured. I'm good now. And we get this kind of like back and forth with Amelia and she's like, oh, I love you, but I know that you're a bad actor. And a fight starts happening. She morphs. They start fighting in the base. After a while, Harvey comes up, grabs Ollie and is like, nope. And then they teleport out and he gets hit with the Blue Ranger energy. But unfortunately, it doesn't work and the blast kind of knocks back Izzy, which brings down the invisible barrier and everybody knows where Dinohenge is. I want to keep saying Stonehenge, but because of this, they contact Lord Zed. Lord Zed comes in, wails on the Rangers completely, and I love the line that he throws out. And he says, Billy, I don't know your weakness, but I know theirs. And he just annihilates all the statues quite quickly. And what we've seen in the previous season, I think end of season 1, where the Rangers lose their powers, it's instant. It's you've demorphed, you've got no power. And Lord Zed is about to destroy the Triceratops one until Ollie turns around and says, don't, I'll be more useful for you. I will join your team. And he's like, how do I know this is not a trick? How do I know that you're not up to your Ranger tricks and you're going to get me? And he just literally throws his sword at Amelia straight past her face. There's mud on the sword, so therefore that's the way to kind of say, hey, I've just cut you down your face. And I'm just like, why didn't you just show a little bit of blood? I know you can't because of a kid's show, but I think you could show a tiny bit, because if you're going to throw a sword at someone or a saber, you're going to go, yeah, there's going to be a little bit. Like, I don't expect a massive gash, but I'm expecting like a little cut that you can see as it's going so close. So the reason why there's dirt on her face is to symbolize that cut. So with that, the Rangers all teleport because they have no power. And Lord Zed calls down a squidrel to cut through their kind of the base. And one thing I did kind of forget to mention earlier, that the Rangers know that there is this button that's not been pushed in 65 million years, that Ion and everyone's really kind of like, don't touch that button, which again is a plot device. We get that plot device right now as the base shields can't hold as a squidrel is coming straight down onto the base. So they hit a button and they teleport the entire thing away. Thus, therefore, when Lord Zed sees the area of the ground is completely empty because there's nothing there because the ship is gone. They take the Triceratops statue all the way to Lord Zed's base, or his squidrel, and thus, therefore, he conquers Earth. And I'm like, damn, you've done something that literally hardly anyone has been able to do. You've taken over Earth completely. To kind of close out the episode, we see that the Rangers have arrived on a planet called Eridus. I think I got that right. It is 30 million light years from Earth, which is something kind of impressive. And it puts Star Trek Voyager to shame, where they got teleported so many light years away. They would have taken them 75 years to get back.
But our primary goal is clear. Even at maximum speeds, it would take 75 years to reach the Federation. But I'm not willing to settle for that.
But the Power Rangers, when we see it later on, can do it quite quickly. I was just like, damn Voyager, god damn. The Rangers are now wondering what they're doing. They have no powers. They're so far out of the way that they can't get back. They've got no ship. We'll get to that later. But yeah, like, everyone is kind of worried, and I would be like kind of shitting my pants, because what are you going to do? Like, if you can't get home, you can't teleport anywhere, it's going to be the worst thing in the world. And the very end, when everyone's kind of wondering, Fern just comes out because she's been in the bathroom, and it's like, oh my god, and the episode ends there. Now, generally, I really like this because I feel like this entire episode was fantastic. It was a bit of danger. It's what we needed. I'm so glad that all of this wasn't in episode 1 and it was kind of spaced out. So for me to see this, I generally really liked the episode. I found that the chemistry between the Rangers, the action, a little bit of comedy, or the danger as well, really made this episode stand out. I feel like this is going to be one of the best seasons of Power Rangers, and I'm all here for it. But I'm going to leave it there. What are your thoughts on this episode? What were your favorite parts? Let me know down below in the comments. I am going to leave it there. If you like this sort of video and you want to hear and see more, hit like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon. Also, why not check out the channel membership? I am going to leave it there. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. I want to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to shout out Kimona Cat, Kira Stanada, Micah Baldwin. Your help goes a long way to help support the channel, and if you want to help support the channel, the links to my Patreon and channel memberships are listed below in the description.
あらあら、チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとう。チャンネル登録、高評価お願い。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができるよ。